Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Working Man Sports Talk podcast, where we like to talk to other working men about sports. And if you aren't a man, who cares? Welcome to the show. We got a new segment here from Johnny D. I'm throwing it to him right now to start us off on it.
All right, guys, welcome to this new segment called The Best Thursday. And today we're going to talk about who do we think is the best center of all time in the NBA. So, as we're going to start off here, we're going to start off with Nathaniel. Who do you think is the best center of all time in the NBA, and why?
The best center of all time.
The best center of all time.
The best NBA center.
The suspense is killing me.
I know.
I like Shaq. Because in his time, when he was playing, I don't know many centers who could match with him.
Is this your favorite? Is this your top? Is this your number one?
Shaq's my number one, yeah.
Okay, cool.
My favorite's David Robinson.
Okay,
but Shaq was a beast, and I have to admit, the man was a beast. Could nobody stop him?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He was like the alien of that time.
Bro, he was like a monster.
You know, he should have been in Space Jams.
He was like them big old aliens that were just slamming on people like, boo.
He should have been Sean Bradley. Patrick Ewing. Basketball Jams.
Prime Shaq was something else.
And Prime Shaq was something else, man. Like, that man was just bullying people down the paint, like, nonstop.
He averaged like 37 points a game in the finals or something like that.
Yeah, insane. Some numbers, like, it is insane. Just like unstoppable. I remember watching Shaq and I was just like, oh god. When I was a kid, I was like, I want to be like Shaq when I get older, just bullying people down the paint.
That dude.
But
only thing Shaq can't do is act.
Hey, he can't put out movies, man. He put out movies.
He was rapping.
He's probably the best NBA actor.
Entertainer, too.
Yep. Do you want me to shoot it?
I can't.
No.
I can't.
You want me to pass it?
That.
No. Do you want me to slam? Slam. Shaq, hands down, for Nate. But I have someone that's gonna, top that. He did a little bit of everything.
Is this yours now?
This is mine. I'm gonna do mine real quick. Mine. Okay. He did a little bit of everything, and there's not a whole bunch of footage of him, but the footage you do see of him, man was flying through the air. He was doing fast breaks. He was grabbing it off the backboard and just flying.
You gonna say Bill Russell?
Bill Russell, hands down, the best center ever. The man has championships to show it. And you know what? If that's the case, if we're all going off of championships and everyone says, Michael's the GOAT, Bill Russell's the GOAT. Hands down, Bill Russell as the best center. Bill Russell's the best center to ever play in the NBA.
Ever?
I
don't know about that. I mean,
soon to be a close tie. Right behind him is Luka after he retires.
Luka?
Who?
I'm not Luka. Jokic.
Nikola Jokic.
I was like, what?
Yeah, Luka's changed position.
You think that Bill Russell could match up with Shaquille O'Neal on that block?
I think he's faster than Shaquille on the block.
On that block.
I think he's faster than him.
You think that prime LA Shaq
If they played on one-on-one.
We're not talking about one-on-one.
I'm just saying,
game.
Overall, Bill Russell's better.
Prime Shaq
outweighs him.
Shaq can outweigh him all he wants. He's slower.
In that time, they wasn't that big. They were skinnier and taller. But they wasn't stocky and big.
But guess what? They were throwing bodies too back then.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
You know what a foul was? You know what? They didn't have flagrants back then. People would get punched and knocked out on the court, and they get back up and go back down.
Nobody's punching Shaquille. Look, hold on.
They tried to punch Bill Russell. Bill Russell just glided right past him.
Now, look, I'm not hating on Bill Russell. Like, Bill Russell, probably top 5 center. But you think that he is matching up with prime Shaq in LA on the block?
Yes. Shaq had too many cheeseburgers when he was in LA.
No way.
Maybe you said Shaq
would have moved him right out of the way and he would have slammed it like he did.
Bill Russell would have hung.
All right. Well, that's very interesting, but there ain't no way. Zach, who's your favorite?
Ooh.
Or not your favorite, who's your
the
top?
best? The best. Who do you think is the best?
I mean, I was gonna agree with you, John, with the championship pedigree of Bill Russell. It's hard to argue that. I will say I'm going to try to be a little contrarian here.
Okay.
And because, this is a debate podcast, you have to. I will agree. It was a lot different game back then. Obviously, yes, there weren't that many fouls, but I'll say, I mean, I know he's still playing right now, but Joker's got to be up there, man. Like, you look at what he can do and just the artistry of which he plays as a center. Like, some of the passes he does is just ridiculous. Like, which is why last year when in the playoffs, I was like, I don't know how we beat this team, but because he makes his team so much better. Like
100%.
A guy getting a 60-20-20 triple double is just unheard of. That's 2K numbers. Like
it's video games. Yeah,
it is. But I guarantee if Bill Russell's stats were kept like that back in the day, it would be even better.
It would be. I will say, Bill Russell, he probably is one of the best rebounders of all time. That dude was averaging like 30 rebounds a game or something. But granted, yes, there weren't a lot of guys his size. I will say he probably could post some dudes up, or he could throw his weight around a little. I don't know, like him and Shaq 1-on-1. I'd pay to see that battle. But yeah,
that would be crazy.
It would. I just think, for the sake of trying to cause some debate, I'm just going to say Joker.
Heyo.
Okay, well, if we're gonna cause debate here, I'm gonna say Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt the Still?
That was the other one that I was thinking of.
Because, dude, what do you have? 100 points in a game? 100 points.
101. But
101.
Never any footage of it.
The man was just a beast. They say that him and Michael Jordan were rivals for who they thought was the best player ever to play. You hear those heated rivalries. Wilt Chamberlain, he's somebody I think that was big enough to go up against Shaq. I think he's somebody that was agile enough to get around Shaq.
I think Wilt probably his game would have translated in this NBA, I think. I'm not saying Bill Russell couldn't either, but yeah.
Wilt had a bigger frame.
He did.
Which would put Shaq. I think he could stand the test of time on that block.
Tall and
bro, he had beef. Wilt Chamberlain. Oh my goodness.
Wilt the Still.
I mean, 101 points unheard of, and people can say, well, it was plumbers back then, or it was not your average. Whoever they were good enough to be professionals, and I'm sure those professionals would scrub the average basketball player back then.
It's not easy to score that many points either, regardless what time it was.
Were there 3 points when he did that?
Nope.
No 3 points. 101 points. No footage though.
No footage.
Yeah. All we have is the picture of him holding up the.
I mean, if that's the case, I can take a picture.
Conspiracy, all made up.
I can take a picture of being in a rec league and say 101.
Oh, please.
Is that? Do you think Wilt's the best center of all time?
I think, for argument's sake, yes. And you know what?
If we were to,
we can always say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
If we were to not be contrarians and disagree, just for the sake of podcast, I would agree with John about Bill Russell.
If we are not,
if I had one more finger,
for not arguing, for argument's sake, but let's say if I was going to be different from Wilt, because Nate already said it, I would say Shaquille O'Neal. Because besides Wilt Chamberlain and maybe Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I don't see anybody else that could really go. Well, Hakeem the Dream, he did go. He actually shut down Baby Shaq before he became Prime Shaq. So
back on the Magic, yeah.
Those three right there, the other ones I could see. But other than that, Shaq was just so dominant. I mean, have you seen those videos? I mean, we all grew up watching it, where he just takes the ball. He just basically moves another guy who's like 6'10", 6'11", moves him like a child and then slams it on him. Like,
but I think these players that we named, Russell, Jokic, and Wilt, I don't think he's moving like those guys though. I don't think
he's moving them.
I don't think he's moving.
Yao Ming.
Yeah, but guess what? Yao Ming, when he actually got back and learned the physicalness of the NBA, they battled. Did they not?
He still moved him. He still moved him.
He ran up and down the court, played defense, would shoot the ball. Man, Shaq was moving.
He was.
Oh, yeah. In Orlando. That wasn't Prime Shaq.
He was moving.
That was not Prime Shaq.
He was running.
That was Baby Shaq.
He was moving. He was running. He was shooting.
Baby Shaq was still pretty intimidating.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. I mean, he was doing everything. He grew. You guys ever watch that show, Dragon Ball? And Dragon Ball Z? He was like, he went to like the next level. Like when he got to LA, he just blew up of just like pure muscle. He was almost like a WWE
did that.
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson did that.
I mean, maybe he just this beast. And we've seen him. How many championships did he get in LA?
Not more than Bill Russell.
Was it a three-peat?
I think it was 3 in like 4 years.
How many rings did that get? Because he had the one in Miami.
I think he has 4.
He has 4.
4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He tried to win one with Cleveland, then he tried to win one with the Celtics, and he tore his Achilles.
Don't forget he went to Phoenix too.
Oh God, that's that he should just retired before that.
I think if Shaq and Bill Russell went toe to toe, Bill Russell really have to try to outthink that, because I don't think anybody wants to get hit in the chest. How much was Shaq? Do you weigh 300 pounds?
No, he weighed more than that. Let me look it up real quick.
And he was moving, like Nate said. He was going up and down that court like there was nobody stopping Shaq.
The only difference was Shaq can't make free throws and Bill Russell can.
And they had to come up with a rule called Hack-a-Shaq.
He was 324.
Jesus Christ.
324
pounds. Yeah, see how much Bill Russell weighed. Say what, 215, 220?
220.
Yeah, he weighed.
You think he's staying on the block?
Yes, bro.
Shaq was going to push him around.
That thinner.
Shaq will push him around like Draymond Green be doing people. Shit.
Nah. I tell you what, Bill Russell is definitely gonna outsmart him. He's gonna sit there and use his speed. He's gonna tire him out. Shaq in LA, they're just telling you, the primetime Shaq, he would tire that man out.
They had to create a Hack-a-Shaq. Nobody else could tire him out. They had to create the Hack-a-Shaq to slow him down. There's the only way they could stop him.
No.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. No, Bill Russell. Championships.
Well, that's cool. I mean,
championship stock.
So then, in your eyes, since you say LeBron James is the best, no, he's not the best because Bill Russell is the
According
best.
to you, you said Michael Jordan is the best.
Michael Jordan is just better. We're not even talking about Michael. We're talking about the centers right now. Don't even get me started on Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would bust LeBron's ass straight up.
Never.
Every day of the week. Every day of the week.
Never. Just like how Bill Russell will bust Shaq's ass every day of the week.
Oh my God.
Rebounds? How many rebounds did Shaq average?
I don't know. Let's find out. You look up Bill Russell.
Oh, I will.
It's two different eras, but we'll see. Okay. How many?
Throughout his whole career?
Yeah, sure.
He averaged 19.6 rebounds a game.
Who?
Bill Russell.
Shaq was 10.9.
But how tall was
I'm
Bill
sorry.
Russell?
Bill Russell was, what, 6'10"?
Hold on. It might even be more than that. I'm sorry. That was his last season.
Right.
He averaged
like 7 foot.
He averaged 22.
That doesn't even
22.5.
seem possible. Like,
he averaged 22.5 rebounds a game and 15 points.
Look, I'm going
4.3 assists.
That rebound's not going to help you when Shaquille O'Neal's on that block and just moving you out of the way.
It is going to help.
Because he's just going to box him out. He's not going to be able to get around him, and he's just going to rebound it.
It's going to help a whole lot.
It's definitely an interesting matchup. I would love to see it if we could. But, I mean, maybe close to 2K. 2K simulation.
2K simulation?
What was that, Nate?
I said, I bet you Bill Russell was the tallest person playing back then.
Oh, you know what was the average?
That's why he had so many rebounds, because there's no one as tall as him.
He played from 57 to 69.
We're going to find out here. John, you should see if you can get that simulation for us.
Bill Russell was 6'10", had a wingspan of 7'4".
The average player in Bill Russell's era from 1950s to the 1960s was 6'6".
Yep, only a couple inches.
Yeah, no one was as tall as him. Of course, he's gonna get all the rebounds.
That's the average. So there has to be
6'10", 6'11".
He's 6'10". What's the average player? Average height of players when Shaq played?
What's the average height?
It's 6'9".
Let me see here.
What is it?
Shaq's
what do we got?
6'7".
So, couple inches.
6'7", and right now.
So basically, it's the same thing. It's basically
present day is 6'7".
Present day, that's not Shaq's era.
No, from the 90s, from the early 90s to it was 6'6", 6'7". The mid 90s, it was 6'6" to 6'7". Early 2000s, still 6'6", 6'7". So 6'7" right now is modern. Like there's no more 6'6" anymore.
So 1 inch.
That goes a long way.
1 inch. 1 inch. So Shaq was taller than the average NBA player by how many inches? He was what, 70?
How much more did he weigh? He was like 100 pounds bigger than everybody.
But I'm saying,
now you take the 100-pound weight.
I'm saying, you want to talk about the height of Bill Russell being taller than everyone. Shaq was taller than everyone too. If you put them in the same diagram, they're about the same height as everyone within the same era.
This is what we're seeing: a sports car and a Ford truck.
No,
that Ford truck's going right through that thing.
I think you see more of a Suburban and a semi.
The semi's going right through that thing.
But that's going ahead. That's going right. That's going right in. That's if Bill Russell goes down to the paint. I don't think Bill Russell
semi with a full load, full Walmart load in the back of that truck.
No. Bill Russell would be like, okay, I can't sit there and just bang with him the whole time. I'm gonna have to tire him out. I have to have him come to me, and I think that Shaq will fall for that.
Anybody else have any input on this? Because this man's just not believing.
And then
I never saw any.
You what?
I mean, I need to verse myself in Bill Russell's game a little bit more.
Then
I'm the type where rings talk. Obviously different era, different type of competition back then. But
I'm gonna say this though. I will say that as much as we say the era and the competition, without those guys,
there would be no league.
We don't have Michael. We don't have Kobe. We don't have LeBron. And I will say too, there were guys back then. Please, there were the guys back then. Magic Johnson. How many rings did he have? How come he didn't have 11 or 10 or whatever? How come Bird?
We know why he didn't have that many. Come on now.
How come Bird didn't have that many? How come Michael didn't have that many?
How come basketball for a while?
How come Dr. Irving didn't have that many?
Competition.
So I think it does speak volumes. Player quality, it does speak volumes, though, too, to what Bill Russell was able to do with the Celtics.
Well, I got nothing to say. I'm standing on this hill. I'm going to die on it. Bill Russell, best center ever.
Well, prepare to take the missile of Shaq. Game over.
Hill's still standing.
Nate, you got anything you want to chip in about this?
I'm just listening. I'm just listening to y'all.
But I think at the end of his career, the Joker will probably be number 2 center of all time.
He might be number one. I'm not even kidding. That way, what he does, we never see nothing like it from a center.
He will have to get 12 or 11 rings. If he gets 11 rings, I will say
it doesn't look like that's going to be happening.
No, it's not going to happen anytime soon. If he can get that,
I don't think we're going to see that again.
It's hard though because the player quality today is different and better than it was back then, and you can't say it wasn't because if you did, then you'll say the game never changed for the better.
Man, if Bill Russell had $100 million to spend on his body, he'll still be playing today.
If Bill Russell played it, I think Bill Russell could play in today's era because he's so good that he could just download it in his head how it would be, and he would just adapt.
Yeah,
like it's not saying he couldn't. But what I'm saying is the quality of player.
You can't get the average player from back then and download them into today's NBA.
You could not do that. That's well said. You couldn't do that, and I don't think that Bill Russell would have 11 rings today.
Like I don't think you could take the average NBA player today and download them in back then.
You'd break the system.
Not even just that. I think they'll get hurt. I think they'll seriously get hurt.
He'd be hurting them. You mentioned LeBron James. If you just download
he's LeBron James is not the average NBA player. LeBron James is not the average NBA player. LeBron James is back then. He'll have 50 rings. Actually, he'll have 20. He'll have 20. One for each season.
All right. Well, look. You got anybody else have anything else to say? I'm gonna get off this thing here.
I got nothing.
You got Bill Russell.
I got Bill Russell.
We got Shaq. For argument's sake, we had other people.
And Victor Wembanyama in the future.
Never know. Could be. All right, guys.
We're a long ways from that one.
I know. But hey,
you just never know.
Watch out.
Yeah.
One can always believe.
Watch out.
Exactly.
I want to thank you for listening and watching to the Working Man Sports Talk podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you, and you will hear from us soon.
Peace.